Hello, church family and friends. Welcome to my Devo today. Thanks for being here. I don't know what you guys have been doing these past couple weeks, but my family, we've been making our way through the Netflix catalog, and we came across this show called Shaun the Sheep. I don't know if you've ever seen Shaun the Sheep before, but it's claymation style, just like Wallace and Gromit. Wallace and Gromit is a throwback to when I was a kid, and it was super nostalgic watching Shaun the Sheep. It brought me back to being a little kid. We were doing pretend movie theater at my house. My dad would borrow this huge projector from a local church. We would set up lawn furniture everywhere, and stuffed animals would be on the lawn furniture, and we'd get candy that we could buy with tickets and stuff. My parents would pretend to be the movie theater workers, and we would do at-home movie theater, and we'd watch Wallace and Gromit, fly to the moon to see if the moon is made of cheese, and I was just having these nostalgic throwbacks, memories while watching Shaun the Sheep with my kids. It was super cool, and I've had sheep on my brain for a week now. Can't get the theme song stuck in my head. It's Shaun the Sheep. It's sheep. It's just, my brain's been sheep. And I have a sheep passage today that I want to share with you. If you'd read along with me, it's found in John 10, 1 through 10. And once again, I have my wife's Bible here. It's pretty. It's well written. John 10, 1 through 10. Join me. Here we go. Truly I tell you, anyone who doesn't enter the sheep pen by the gate but climbs in some other way is a thief and a robber. The one who enters the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens it for him, and the sheep hear his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought all his own outside, he goes ahead of them. The sheep follow him because they know his voice. They will never follow a stranger. Instead, they will run away from him because they don't know the voice of strangers. Jesus gave them this figure of speech, but they did not understand what he was telling them. Jesus said again, "Truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep didn't listen to them. I am the gate. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved, will come in, go out, and find pasture. A thief only comes to steal and kill and destroy. I have come so that they may have life and have it in abundance." What an awesome passage that is. John 10, 1 through 10. There's so much you can actually take out of that. We don't have time for that today, but go read the whole passage for yourself. See what you can pull out of there. There's one is, if you stay in the pen, you won't have a full life. Jesus is the only gate. It doesn't say I am a gate. He says I am the gate. Isn't that cool? And lastly, Jesus is the good shepherd. And we're going to stick on the theme of sheep today and Jesus being the good shepherd. So let's look at what the life of sheep look like. So sheep for us, we have the sheep inside the pen. What's it like to be a sheep inside the sheep pen? So first of all, you have shelter. That's awesome. You have food brought to you every day, probably like dry grass, I don't know, or feed. And then you're surrounded by other sheep. You have water brought to you. You have somewhere to sleep that's safe. And the only real danger, you have sheep that they all have teeth. They might be biting each other. And then you have the slits in the fence. And this is the problem. This kind of problem for sheep who live in the pen. They can see through the fence, and they see that there is wilderness beyond. There's more in the world than just the pen. And then all of a sudden, maybe like their legs start getting a little restless, and the sheep seem a little bit too close to them, all around them, because it's getting crowded in here, because there's got to be more to life than just living in the pen. So those are our sheep who live in the pen. Then we have our sheep who are outside the pen. What's it like for a sheep who's been brought outside of the pen into the wilderness? Well, first of all, dangerous. It's dangerous out there outside in the wilderness. Here we go. We have storms. We have darkness. You can get lost out there. There are tornadoes, lightning. There are lions, bears, wolves. And this is like, I'm like, hold on a second. Where you biblical shepherds are shepherding where there are lions and bears and wolves in the same place. Like, where is this land? All right. You're like shepherding like a super dangerous area. Go find somewhere where like those don't exist. But I guess in Vermont we have bears, right? We have mountain lions. I've never seen a wolf. I guess I've never seen a mountain lion here, but I know they're here. But like, man, what a dangerous place to shepherd. It's like shepherding in a zoo. There's deep water. Can sheep swim? I feel like they're not really like very hydrodynamic with their like wool. I don't know if they're good swimmers. So I put deep water as being a dangerous thing in the wilderness for sheep. But with that, the danger, I feel like is worth it because you have that fresh grass, right? Like mile after mile of fresh grass. Whew, it's got to be so much better than having that dry grass in the pen. Then you have the streams of water. You go by, get a drink. We have a little brook near our house. It's the Allen Brook. And just hearing the water running makes my mouth water. I'm like, oh man, it sounds so refreshing, especially if you're riding your bike down the bike path and you can hear it. You're like, oh man, I really want some of that water. Compared to the water that's been stagnant sitting around in the pen. You guys have all been to petting zoos. You've seen what the water looks like that those animals drink. This water flowing down the stream has to be so much better than the water in the pen. So you have all of those benefits being out in the wilderness. But you know what? When you're out to pasture, out in the wilderness, you're not alone. There's somebody else out there with you. And I want to take a look further into our passage. We're going to read John 10, 11 through 15 to see who else is out to pasture with you. Let's take a look. I got to find it first. Here we go. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, since he is not the shepherd, does not own the sheep, leaves them and runs away when he sees a wolf coming. The wolf then snatches and scatters them. This happens because he's a hired hand and doesn't care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me. And I know the Father. I lay down my life for the sheep. That is awesome. So who else is out there with the sheep? Jesus, the good shepherd, is out to pasture with the sheep. And when a wolf comes your way, you know what? The hired hand, he runs away. But you know what? Wolves hunt in packs. So if you see one wolf, chances are there are more wolves. And Jesus says he's the good shepherd. He won't run away. He is going to put his life down for the sheep. He'll risk his life to save the sheep from the wolves. Jesus is the good shepherd. He's out there with the sheep. My roommate, Tyler, in college, he took a wilderness survival class, and it was cool. He'd always come back. He was really into Bear Grylls and like that whole like wilderness survival thing. And he came back and told us about this one class that he had about surviving animal attacks. And the professor went over what happens when you encounter a lion, what happens when you encounter a bear, what do you do? And then there were strategies for both of those things. And then when it got to wolves, his professor was like, when it comes to wolves, there's nothing you can do. You can just pray that they ignore you, that they just go by. And then his professor pulled out a list of people in history and how many wolves they killed before they died. That was like the hope. It's like, well, you could just kill some before they kill you because you're not going to survive. Like, that's crazy. That's what wolves are like in the wild. You get attacked by them. Going back to shepherding, we have a good shepherd. I want to tell you about a good shepherd. You know who a good shepherd was? David, the same David from David and Goliath. Right before David goes and fights Goliath, he comes from shepherding his father's flock, and he hears Goliath's challenge to the Israelites. And David goes and he says this to King Saul right before he goes and he fights Goliath. We have this in 1 Samuel 17, it's chapter 17, verse 34 and 35. David's talking to Saul because he's like, I'm going to go fight Goliath. And what he says is this: your servant has been tending his father's sheep. Whenever a lion or a bear came and carried off a lamb from the flock, I went after it, struck it down, and rescued the lamb from its mouth. If it reared up against me, I would grab it by its fur, strike it down, and kill it. David is a good shepherd. That is crazy. David is crazy. Like if a big dog comes my way, I'll probably run away, right? I'm pretty scared of like big animals like that. But when David was encountered with a lion or a bear, he grabbed it by its fur. He didn't say like I like shot it from a distance, right? David ran up, he grabbed that bear or that lion, he pulled the lamb out of his mouth, then he killed the bear or the lion. That guy is nuts. That's nuts. And do you know what? David was a good shepherd, and Jesus is the good shepherd. He's the best shepherd. And when it comes to wolves, which in my opinion, like learning about the wolves, like they're the most dangerous. Jesus will lay down his life for us. He'll lay down his life for the sheep because he is the best shepherd. That's so cool. Here we go. Give me a minute while I turn the page. So Jesus is the good shepherd. He doesn't run away. He is with us, and he'll lay down his life for us. So a lot of predators, they're ambush predators. They rely on short bursts of energy to surprise their prey. Wolves are known as endurance hunters. They're known to chase their prey for miles, looking for the right opportunity to take them, to strike. Never being a sheep before, I haven't had to worry about being attacked by a predator of some sort while eating grass, but I've had some dangerous wilderness moments in my life, and I've had a wolf that's been chasing me for miles. An example of this recently, I feel like a wolf that's been chasing me for miles, barely waiting for its right opportunity, is the way I've been viewing myself, the way that I'm critical on myself for the decisions I've made, for the words that I've used, where I beat myself up a lot. I'm very critical. And these past few weeks have been a prime opportune time for all of us to be attacked by wolves, to be chased down, by burdened by them over and over and over. But you know what? Jesus is the good shepherd. He doesn't run away from the wolves. He is willing to lay his life down for us because he is the good shepherd. So what can we do in these times? What can we do when we feel like we're being chased by a wolf and like, man, I am starting to get tired and worn down. I don't know what to do. Don't hide those wolves from Jesus. Take a moment and just think about something that may be wearing down on you and wearing you down, and give it to Jesus. Don't protect it. Don't protect that wolf. Tell Jesus where they are. Offer them up to him, because Jesus is the good shepherd. He won't run away. He is with you, and he'll lay down his life for you. We can trust him. I'm going to pray for us. Jesus, thank you for being the good shepherd. Thank you that when dangers come our way, when things come to destroy us, eat us, when scary situations are all around us, God, you don't run away. You are the good shepherd. Thank you for loving us, taking care of us, and not leaving us alone in the wilderness of life. Pray for that memory, that reminder that we can trust you in the days and weeks to come. In your name, amen. Hey, thank you guys for being with me today. Have a blessed day. We'll see you at youth group Tuesday, 6:30.